Hello and happy Wednesday. Welcome to Unleashing Happiness. I am your host, Cecilia Hendricks, and I am so excited that you're here. I am really looking forward to the new year, and that's a lot of what today's episode is about, is talking about the upcoming new year and actually setting goals for it that are sustainable. If you're anything like me, I spent years every time the new year would come around feeling like I wanted to reinvent myself, be this new version of me that was better and healthier and more attractive and more this and had more energy and kept a cleaner house and all these things that were these huge lofty goals. And I would write them out and then I would do no real process towards them and then kind of feel bad that I didn't maintain them and didn't keep up with them. And I can say that I've finally figured out the method to pair the goals and the ways that I want to live with actual process to get it done, make actual changes to my life, and start living the way that I want. And I have paired that with spirituality teachings from mystics like Neville Goddard, Emmett Fox, and multiple others that I share across my episodes that I do here on the podcast. And I found that pairing this woo-woo with the work, I guess is a good way to put it, that I was able to start making real changes in my life and feel really good about the things that I was doing and about myself internally, the way that I felt about me, the way that I was able to manage things that maybe happened in life that I didn't like or didn't want. My emotional intelligence has improved. My ability to regulate my own emotions and to focus the way that I wanted to has drastically improved. And every single day, literally in every single way, everything just keeps getting better and better. And it's absolutely beautiful. But before I get too much into that, I also wanted to share about my book giveaway. So that will be launching for entries on December 8th, which is this Friday. You'll definitely want to follow me on Instagram to get that information. So I'll put the link to my Instagram down below. And then on Friday morning, Mountain Time, I will share how you can enter for that giveaway and then also some of the rules. I do want to call out that after doing a lot of research on kind of rules of doing giveaways and with shipping internationally, the giveaway is limited to those that are within the United States. It's definitely not to say that I am not grateful for everyone around the world who is listening. I am always thoroughly amazed and thankful to see that there are so many countries that are listening to the podcast. And I'm so, so thankful for you. And I'm hoping that as I learn a bit more and have some more understanding and get some help, I can do something that also includes an international giveaway. So I am still researching that, but this book giveaway is limited to within the United States. The books that I'm giving away is the Mind Hacking Happiness Volume 1. Then I also have the 5 Lessons by Neville Goddard and also The Power of Habit. So I'm really excited about these books. And then I'm throwing in my favorite reading light. It is a really simple light, but it has been the best for my reading in the early mornings, which is usually when I am up reading. And so I wanted to do this full bundle. So whoever the winner ends up being, which will be announced as well, I will make sure that they get all of those books. So they'll get the 3 books plus the reading light. And the winner will be announced on December 20th, with me going ahead and doing the shipping also on the 20th. So hopefully it'll be a nice little around Christmas before the new year kind of gift bundle that you can get. Those are 3 of my absolute favorite books, although I had to really scale down what I was trying to grab because I was like, oh, I want to get this book and this book and this book. And at some point I was like, yeah, you've got to make sure that you're not sending somebody 12 books. Shipping for that can get a little crazy. So needed to scale it back some. So I picked 3 of my absolute favorites. And I hope that everybody is really excited about that. And if you don't win the giveaway, I still highly recommend those books. I absolutely love them. Each of them has done something so important in my life and taught me something so wonderful that I just really promote all of those. And I have other ones, of course, that I promote. And I would like to do more book giveaways within time. time, if this is something that you think is neat or that you want to put in for and you would like to win, please leave it in the comments if you're like, yes, kind of keep doing this. If you're listening on YouTube, if you're listening on the podcast, shoot me an email. If there's something else that you would like to see, I would love that as well. I'm going to be sending out an email to my email list later today, asking for, just kind of their input on what they want to learn from me. Is there topics that I haven't gotten deep enough into? I just really want to start the new year giving you and me everything that we need here. So if you have suggestions for that or something that you're like, man, you brought this up once, but I really wish you would go a little bit deeper into it, shoot me an email, unleashinghappiness@ceciliahendricks.com. And I am glad to take a look at those and I'll write you back and let you know like, hey, this doesn't really fit, or I'm not familiar enough with it to talk on that topic. But I would love to know what it is you're looking for and what it is you would like to see, how to make these changes in your life, and what are things that you can do. So totally open to that. By all means, please reach out. If you're listening on YouTube, put it in the comments. I would love to know more. And now on to today's regularly scheduled program, which is talking about the upcoming new year. So I mentioned earlier that I used to really set these big, lofty goals. And essentially, I would just set this goal that was, just something to obtain, really. So like, let's say it was hike a 14er. And to give some context there, a 14er here is a mountain that is over 14,000 feet in elevation. That doesn't mean that you hike that gain, but you start, at a certain point. You usually do, a couple thousand feet in elevation. We're here in the US, in Colorado, and then you hit the top of the mountain. And I have done one my entire life, and I've always had a desire to do another one because that first one was so hard for me physically. I had not really prepared myself at all for what that challenge was going to be. And it was a really difficult challenge for me. I had not prepared in the least. And so I was not ready for the elevation. I was not ready for the lack of breath. Like, it was not a great time. But I did it. I got up there and I got back down, but it was really, really tough on me. And so I always wanted to do another one. And then we have something here in Colorado called the incline. And I wanted to get up and back down the incline again. I've actually done the hike 3 times. It's always taken me a substantial amount of time to get it done. So I really wanted to do that again. So my goals would maybe be hike a 14er, and then my goal would be, hike to the top of the incline in under 1 hour. And if you're interested in learning about the incline, I'll put a link down below. It's a pretty intense hike, but it's really cool here down in Colorado Springs. And those are just 2 examples that I'm using for this episode. But I would put together this goal, and the goal was, an outcome of what I wanted, but I had no process to really get to that. And so I would then go tell everybody and anyone that this was my goal and this is what I wanted to do and this was the way I was going to get there. But I didn't really set up any kind of true process for myself. And I'm going to go back really quick to what a habit is in our lives, right? We are all fueled by habits. Every action that you take, everything that you do is based on a habit that you have that's based on your perception of the world and your past experiences and kind of the way that you've wired your mind by the things that you've continuously done in the past that you've continuously taken because of the reward that you get at the end of it. So every habit starts with a cue. There's some sort of reminder to you that you need to do this, right? It can be a person, it can be a place, it can be a time, a location, a smell, a sight, anything that triggers something in your mind that says, oh, now it's time to do XYZ routine. And then you begin your routine. And you can see these as you start to become more aware. You can start to see them in your life. Is there a certain routine that you follow when you get in the car to drive to the grocery store? What is the routine you follow when you first wake up in the morning? What is the routine you follow when you're getting ready for bed? What is the routine you follow when you end up walking into the grocery store or you get to work, etc.? There's all these different routines that you have set up in your day that you may not even be aware that you're falling into and that you're doing. but then you get some sort of reward for doing it. So either there's comfort that comes from that, a feeling of being relaxed, or a feeling maybe of like a dopamine type hit that you're getting, but you get something that's a reward that's given to you. So that's a habit loop. Cue, routine, reward. And you'll see these in kind of a couple different ways. Like some people have cue, craving, but I always kind of keep it very simple with the cue, routine, reward, and you just follow this throughout the day. And so, of course, the first thing to do is to become aware that you're doing it. Start paying more attention to the things that you're doing. But a key that I found to setting goals was to really decide the type of life I wanted to lead based on feeling. How do I want to feel each day? What are the things that I would start doing or stop doing if I knew that my life had a limited amount of days left? What are things that I would want to make sure I included in my life, the feelings that I had? And what are things that I would want to let go of and no longer allow to have kind of a hold over the way that I was behaving and the things that I was doing? And I actually have a free journal and a free little ebook for you to kind of walk through this process. I'll put the link below if you would like to read the ebook and use the journal to get started on this. But it really walks you through like how to decide on what this desired outcome is that you want. What is the outcome that you would like to see? And if that, like for me, were those two examples, then for me, that desired outcome is being a more like healthy, active version of myself. And those are kind of part of the processes in that, and is like an end goal that I would like to achieve, to say that I was able to do this. Like this was something that I wanted to do so I could be proud of myself and to show the work that I had done to become this healthier version of me. So once I outlined that, I took a look and said, okay, if I did this, if this was the type of person that I was, and this is the type of life that I was leading, what are some habits of that kind of person? Like, how would this person act when they woke up in the morning? What would be the way they spent their time driving into work? How would they spend their afternoons? What would they do? How would I feel when I went to bed at night if I was leading this life that I want to lead? And that can be an overall leading a life that I want to lead, like very drastic changes, or something small that's in like one area of life. Like you want to be more healthy, or you want to have more wealth, or you want to have more love in your life. And then I just decided, what would these habits look like? And not over the top, like stretch really kind of things. Like I would wake up in a $50 million mansion. And I'm not saying that you can't do that, but for me, I made it much smaller. How would I behave when I woke up in the morning? How would I feel? What would be things that I would naturally want to do and the steps that I would naturally want to take if I was this person? And so from there, I started to build a process and really get small on the things that I was doing. And this came, The Power of Habit, Atomic Habits, and Tiny Habits are all three fantastic books. I'm actually working my way through Tiny Habits right now. But the way that you're able to create these sustainable changes is by making it very small. And one of the greatest things that I started doing in my day was changing the way that, like, the first thought that I had when I woke up in the morning. And I started to change it to, today is an amazing day. I am so thankful that I get to live this day. And at first it felt weird, right? I would wake up and I would say this to myself in the mirror, or I would say it while I was laying in bed. And I would say it a couple times throughout the morning. And at first it felt unnatural, because going into any kind of change is going to feel a bit unnatural and it's going to feel a bit uncomfortable. So if you're a follower of Neville Goddard, he equates it to wearing a new suit. If you're walking down the street in a new outfit that you're not used to wearing, and let's say it's a bit fancier than what you are used to wearing, you are very conscious of the difference of how you look and how it feels, and maybe the material and the way that it fits. And you're very conscious of that. And you may be uncomfortable walking down the street and feel like everybody's paying attention to you. But then in time, the more that you enter into this state, the more that you continue to go into it, the more natural it becomes, the more usual and comfortable it feels for you, because that's becoming your actual state. That's what Neville always meant when he talked about wearing a new suit. So something feels uncomfortable at first. I get a little kind of excited and lean into that. And I'm like, wow, if it's uncomfortable, that means I'm growing and I'm changing. This is something new and I'm evolving into this next step of my journey. And I'm really excited about that. And so adding these small steps though, because I have now said, doing this small step equals being aligned to this ideal life. So the more that I do that, the more that I'm telling my brain, my subconscious mind, every time I do this, I am telling myself that I am this type of person. I am the person who has this type of desired outcome. Because when I take action that goes towards that and I'm leaning into entering into a new state and I'm revisiting it repeatedly, then I am changing the way that my mind views the world. I'm changing the perceptions. So our brain is always designed to only focus on the things that we quote unquote want to focus on, right? So there is so much going on in the world at any given point that we have to kind of filter some of it out. And that's why if you've been listening to my content for a while, I shared quite a few times about this lucky versus unlucky study. And essentially years ago, there was a study that was done where everybody was given a newspaper. And on the front of the newspaper, it said in pretty big, bold print, there are 42 pictures in this newspaper. And I may have some of the details like the 42 pictures out of whack. I didn't re-look up the study for this podcast episode. But it said like there's this many pictures in the newspaper. And they took people who self-proclaimed lucky and who self-proclaimed unlucky. And they gave them each the newspaper and said, I need you to count how many pictures are in this newspaper. Well, the majority of the people who had self-identified as unlucky completely missed the big, bold notice on the front. And the people who self-proclaimed as lucky did notice it. And so they very quickly didn't have to count the images, but the unlucky people did. And it's because their brain was not able to even see, like it filtered out this quote unquote lucky coincidence that the answer was right there in big bold print for them, and instead just went onto the task. So when you change your perception, your brain actually starts to notice more. That's why when, let's say you want to start noticing a specific number series, or you want to notice like a specific color of car, all of a sudden it starts popping up in your awareness a lot more. And that's because your brain is like, oh, we're paying attention to that. Let's start to notice these opportunities to see more of it. But that also means that when you tell yourself this habit, these small list of habits is aligned to me being my ideal self, then you're telling your mind, each time that I do this, I am saying I am this desired outcome person. I am taking the step each and every day to be that desired outcome person. And then suddenly you start to notice a lot more opportunities for that. And of course, I believe in the woo-woo parts of this as well, right? I believe that what our mindset is set to, we end up getting more of just from like the universe, God, life source, whichever word you prefer to use. And that will route your attention to these types of experiences and these types of perceptions, and that you'll get more of it because that's the path that you're on. And then it starts to become more natural. If you're someone who is aligning to being your healthiest self, the more that you fall into that state, the more likely you are to make the choices that you deem as healthy for you. So I'm going to put this as in an example. Let's say that you want to become someone who does not worry about how their bills are going to be paid every month. You always have enough to pay your bills. That does not mean that the uncomfortableness that you're going to push into is spending all the money in your bank account and maxing out your credit cards and buying a $500 jacket. That's not actually what I'm talking about. The uncomfortableness is by making small changes to your routine that align with that person. So if I am someone who does not worry about paying for their bills, do I wake up in the morning concerned about my bills? No, I wake up in the morning thinking, today is an amazing day and I am so thankful that I get to live it. Those are the small changes and they still feel uncomfortable. You can dwell in a state that is positive for you, or you can dwell in a state that is not positive for you. So if you go out and you spend all of your money, your core feeling is likely going to be one of concern. And this is where I think a lot of people trip themselves up, is they say, well, I'll just keep affirming that this money is coming, this money is coming, this money is coming. But their core feeling is still one of, I have no money. I just spent my money. I really need that money to come. What am I going to do if it doesn't come? And so that's actually what you get more of. You get more reason to be concerned of the money not coming. So I hope that makes sense. I'll actually use another example to make sure that I'm kind of making it clear for everybody and communicating in a way that makes sense. Let's say that you want to be in a loving relationship and you're not currently in one. So this uncomfortableness would not mean that you're going to randomly text the guy that you went on one date and say, I'm in love with you. I bought you a new toothbrush. I can't wait to see you when you get home tonight. Because to you, you're living in the end. And in the end, you guys are together in this like wonderful, healthy, loving relationship. No, you would do small steps to show your self-love instead. If you were in a loving, caring, loyal, wonderful relationship that had the qualities that you wanted, how would you behave during the day? What would be things that you would do for yourself? And like for someone like me, I love to smell good. I love to feel like my skin is soft. And so for me, if I'm in this healthy relationship, something small that I'm going to do for myself is like, I love to take a shower and exfoliate and do my skincare. That's something that feels good to me. So that's what I'm going to do because I'm taking care of myself, because taking care of me is part of the way that I take care of my partner and show love for my partner. I would also do things throughout my day that I enjoy. So doing your daily list of joys. If you're new here, really quick recap. Daily list of joys is a list that you've literally written out of things that you really like to do. They bring you joy, and it can be very small: drinking a cup of coffee, taking a bubble bath, taking a walk, outside with your dog, spending time with your cat, cleaning your kitchen, whatever it is. But a big list, my list is like, 70 things at this point. And then each day you pick and you say, I'm going to do X amount of things off this list. And while I'm doing them, I'm going to pay attention to the fact that I'm doing them. I'm going to become into this moment. I'm going to pay attention to how I feel. I'm going to pay attention to the physical things that I can feel. Like, what does it taste like? Is there, sun on my skin? How do I feel? And become really present in that moment and recognize I'm doing this because it brings joy to me. It's a way for me to show myself that I love me, even if in other areas it's a little bit difficult for me to love myself. But doing those things align to this person that I want to be. So I want to go back to my examples of like hiking the 14er and doing the incline in under an hour. When I have this kind of focus in my life, and this is something that I want to obtain, I would break it down into smaller goals. Well, what would be a really small goal of someone who does this, like a daily progress practice, I guess you could call it. And some of that would be walking more, right? So I would be taking more walks. So maybe I would add that each day I was going to, if I'm currently walking a mile, I'm going to make it up to 1.5 miles each day. Or I'm going to add in an additional walk, each week. I'm going to add in a fitness class each week. Small things that I can do. And if I'm starting from 0, I can literally make that be that each day I'm going to put on my workout outfit. That's it. I'm not saying I'm going to go work out. I'm just going to put on the outfit. And then that is solidifying to me, well, I'm in the outfit. Maybe now I should take the next step. These small habit changes that you do will actually snowball into additional things. It kind of has like a domino effect that if I'm in my workout clothes, well, okay, for like 4 days, I've put on my workout outfit, but I haven't done anything. It naturally kind of progresses into me wanting to do the actual workout. And the more that I do the workout, the more that I increase it, the longer it becomes, the better I feel, the more I'm recognizing that I'm showing up for myself and I'm doing this. And now I have small steps each day that are building up to this habit of being someone who hikes a 14er. And the other process to this is using something called habit stacking. And I believe I've got an episode coming up that's on habit stacking, and I should probably have some smaller content coming out that's on habit stacking, but you can find a ton of info online as well. But habit stacking is taking something that you currently do and adding kind of to it part of this new activity, this new routine that you want to have. So let's say that for an example, something that I have to do is take my dog out on a walk. So I could habit stack then and also listen to a podcast on that walk. Or I could work on content on that walk. I could check my emails. I could take a work call, whichever kind of thing that you want to add to it. Another one that I do is like while I'm folding laundry, I'll listen to a podcast. I tend to listen to podcasts more than audiobooks, but you can add an audiobook or whatever you wanted into that. And so you'll take the activities that you're already doing, like let's say it's brewing your coffee, and you could say, while my coffee is brewing, I'm going to do 3 squats. That's it, just 3. And while your coffee is brewing, you do those 3 squats each day. Well, after a couple days, you're like, while my coffee is brewing, I'm going to do 10 squats. And then you do your 10 squats. It's little steps that you can start to make to be more in alignment with the person that you want to be. And I'm telling you, it's these small steps that actually lead up to something much bigger. It's the small steps that are going to get you to the outcome that you want to have. And that's where you want to start. So when you're looking at your goals for the new year, outline what it is that you want. You can use the journal and the ebook that I mentioned before. I'll put those links below, but outline the thing that you want. What is this desired outcome? And do not allow yourself to condition it. Do not allow yourself to wonder if it's, something that you should want or not want or need to check with somebody. You do you. You figure out what it is that you want. Then start outlining the process. What would be the daily habits of a person who had this? And if I was going to set this up in my life, what are some very small changes that I could do for myself that would align with this life? So I hope that you enjoyed the episode. If you did, the absolute biggest compliment is to share it out with a friend. And also please subscribe if you have not already so you don't miss out on anything. You can do that on YouTube or also on any of the podcast channels that you might be listening. So definitely subscribe. And of course, again, I would love to hear from you. Either reach out, leave a comment, whatever you'd like to do. A review on the podcast is fantastic and definitely helps me out quite a bit. And from there, I will launch the book giveaway this coming Friday, December 8th. I am super excited about it. I hope that you are too. And remember, if you have any questions, just let me know. And I hope that you have an absolutely beautiful week. And I will be back on Monday with my mindset motivation. Have a wonderful week. Talk soon.